If there is one thing humans will never be able to figure out, it's loss. It doesn't matter where you are on the world, or if you're even from this world, loss affects us all. It comes in so many different shapes and so many different ways. Losing a favourite toy, losing a pet, losing a girlfriend, mother, father. What about your entire family? Part of life is experiencing these losses, yes, but instead of having them break you, why not have them build you, have them be celebrated, and do the best thing that we can, which is just to keep going. I'm Ollie Hux, and I'm an actor. And I make videos analysing my favourite media for deeper themes. If you like what you see here, please drop me a subscribe. Invincible Season 3, Episode 6 is a story about loss, acceptance, and how we can try and keep living after those losses. We open on Powerplex, and we're back in the moments before Mark and Omni-Man tear through Chicago in the finale of Season 1. And we learn that who we thought were just two random people that Mark was trying to save are now characters. They have names, they have a story, they have a family, they have backgrounds, and they have infinitely higher stakes, except we already know what's going to happen. These two people were Powerplex's niece and sister, and they are going to die. Watching his only remaining family die right before his eyes, and not even die, quite literally eviscerated right in front of him, shatters Powerplex's entire being and turns him hellbent on making Invincible pay.
I want justice! I want...
Understandable from his perspective and viewpoint. He lost pretty much everything that he ever held dear to him. You too would of course be angry at the person you thought was responsible. And a person unwilling to change and grow would refuse to accept a different perspective and viewpoint on the situation, blinded by revenge. This blind rage and crusade for revenge keeps Powerplex stuck in the past. He's unable to even attempt to move on because he believes that Invincible shouldn't have gotten away with no repercussions. Of course, we know that Mark was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to stop his father from taking over the entire globe. But Powerplex doesn't know that. He hasn't got the context of us watching the show, seeing the full narrative play out. He only sees what he's seeing, a man failing to save someone and killing people. This episode is very similar to another episode that I've talked about before, which is one of my favourite episodes, Season 2, Episode 7.
Listen to me. Say you'll do it. Say fine. I'll take over the planet. You can't beat her, kid. Say it.
No.
That being, it's a very self-contained, narrative-focused and character-focused episode, focusing more on immersing you in the vibes and the world, making you feel like you're actually a part of a living, growing ecosystem of the Invincible world. It purely coasts along with a really pleasant vibe, nice soundtrack, and then rips your heart out right at the end.
Can't live in your world. I want to. I really tried, but I can't.
By making us suffer the loss of Mark and Amber.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
And these two episodes are probably some of my favourite in the entire series because they're just episodes dedicated to character moments and developing our characters and pushing them forward. One character who stands out this episode is Oliver. Haha, my name, I know, funny. He's training with Mark and Eve, and he begins to ask about his father, Nolan.
That was before Dad did all of that stuff.
And this is where Oliver reveals that he remembers his mother really well. Thoraxin biology gives him the ability to remember his childhood very well. But on Earth, Oliver has only heard of his father's atrocities. He only remembers seeing his father's nurturing, fatherly side of him. And so for Oliver, people hating on his dad is so confusing to him. And his choice to not give up on his father is admirable, because he truly believes that his father is a good man.
Even after Dad did all that bad stuff, she must have known he was good inside.
And this is when he poses a very interesting question to Mark. Oliver asks him why his dad can't be forgiven because he saved so many lives. Now, very simply put, life just doesn't work that way. We can't just take one life and exchange it for another.
Are you sure?
Because every life is individual, it's precious and unique and different to one another. Obviously, what Omni-Man did is inexcusable, but he's actively going to try and make up for those mistakes he made.
Look, I made a mistake.
Mistake!
Son,
No, you don't get to call me that anymore.
what do you want me to say, Mark?
You could have started with, I'm sorry.
And that one really terrible deed, whilst doesn't excuse the man, shouldn't necessarily condemn and warrant a man being labelled as a villain for eternity. Especially because this person has done so many good things for the betterment of humanity. He committed a wrong act and is trying to make up for it. That's part of the growth journey, no? The next showcase of loss is a different kind. It's through Debbie's new partner, Paul. We see him trying to fit in with the Grayson family as he's trying to bond with Mark and Oliver. He speaks to Debbie about whether he's cut out for this kind of life.
I'm not sure how I fit in. Mark and Oliver are great kids, but how can I relate to them?
Because he too has lost something, what he believed to be his normal life. He's set foot into this big superhero family and he can't go back now. He feels like he doesn't fit in. He's lost that normalcy and he's got to accept that this is his life now. Now, I want to take you back to the last time we saw Mark and Amber together. They just decided to break up. It was difficult for both of them because there was no loss of love there, just merely an incompatibility of their own lives.
So I'm editing the video, and I really hate editing this part between Mark and Amber breaking up because it breaks my heart every time. I've cried like twice whilst editing this video because I just had to keep rewatching the scene of them breaking up, and I hate it. I hate it so much. It's terrible. Why did I make myself do this?
Mark is...
Shut the fuck up.
He's the world's greatest and strongest hero, and with that title comes a lot of powerful enemies who will want to hurt him in any way possible. And Amber is an incredible woman. She's intelligent, she's firm, she's responsible, she's loyal.
And that choice is you.
Well, that's definitely not ethical. But maybe I'm cool with that.
But in Mark's world, she's completely powerless. None of that is more evident than when Anissa threatened her life like it was absolutely nothing. They loved each other so much, but it wasn't fair because it was affecting both of them. If they'd have stayed together, eventually something would have happened that would have caused a catastrophic event. And neither of them wanted that. So as Mark and Kyle, what the fuck? They're gay as hell, bro. And so when Amber and Kyle show up to play bowling, they get the chance to talk, and they share an embrace. And it's the kind of embrace that's filled with warmth and love. And it's the kind of embrace that just says, I miss you. You know, they loved each other. They went through so much together, so many terrible experiences, yes, but also moments where they felt like together they could take on the world. And as Mark and Amber talk, they both just can't stop smiling. Despite their loss of a relationship, they both seem to be happy. The loss here wasn't just a loss of love, it was a loss of something that was real. And they both just haven't thrown something away because their love really meant something to each other. We then catch up with the ex-Guardian / new teen team in their base of operations in the bridge. And we get to see where this budding romance between Rex and Ray has been building up to. And it leads up to the two of them having a conversation on top of the bridge. A conversation where Ray tells Rex she's done. She almost lost her life fighting the Lizard League, and she's starting to realise that what is it all for? Ray having an experience so close to the Grim Reaper has made her experience and suffer the loss of the love for the superhero game. She wants out. But to be fair, I don't really blame her because she sacrifices her life day after day so that regular people get to live the life that she wants to live, and she doesn't think it's fair anymore. And so she wants to stop existing and really start living. And she asks Rex to go with her. And it's probably the hardest decision Rex has ever had to make, but he just can't. Rexplode was sold for a steak dinner and financial wealth for his parents. He was thrown away and given to the government and experimented on relentlessly. He lived such a miserable life until he became a hero, which is why he's always been such an arsehole, because he's always been masking.
Aw, look at her, she's adorable. But isn't there like an age requirement for this ride? Somebody ought to teach you some motherfucking what the fuck.
And now he's being faced with a real choice with real consequences. To lose the woman he's growing to love, or to lose Rexplode, the only identity and life he's ever known. Which is quite obviously a very hard decision to make. I wonder how that decision turned out.
My entire goddamn skeleton, dickhead.
We then reach the day of the Chicago Memorial. The day in which the entire status quo of the globe was changed. The Chicago Memorial shows us that whilst we lose, and in Chicago after that battle, people lost everything, we can pick ourselves back up after the pain and the loss and the suffering. And not forget, but continue, because that's all we really can do. The people that we lost wouldn't want us to sit there and wallow and be hurt by the pain forever. We can still remember and memorialize those people, but our lives don't just stop, otherwise everyone would end up being like Batman in The Dark Knight Rises, just a hermit stuck in the past choosing comfort over growth, which, in circling back around to Powerplex, is who he is. Do you think his sister and niece would have wanted him to be fighting Invincible, the superhero who with every fibre of his being tried to save them? No. God no. But with the loss of his family, Powerplex just decided to stop living. He has a wife and a child, but chose to ignore them for the sake of revenge. He couldn't just let go and remember them. He's turned their loss and his pain into revenge, which...
Revenge
is a fool's game.
He's entirely blinded by rage, which leads to the final confrontation between Mark and Powerplex. Because Mark shows up and he's the calmest we've seen him since his father beating the ever-loving shit out of him.
I can't imagine what you went through, or the pain you're feeling. And for that, I'm so sorry.
It's the same inciting incident that created Powerplex, and Mark tries to appeal to Powerplex's soul. He tries to help him. He sees that he's genuinely a good person at heart. But with Powerplex's rage and anger and unwillingness to move on, he loses the last thing in his life that held any value. His wife and child. Killed by his own powers. Taken not by Invincible, but by his own doing. He takes every single piece of rage out on Mark. Literally everything he can give.
This is all your fault!
And yet, for all the short tempers Viltrumites have been shown to have, Mark doesn't fight back, doesn't lash out, just approaches him and hugs him as he sobs into his arms. Invincible deals with loss in lots of different ways, and that's shown to us through all of its different characters in different parts of their lives in this show. Part of what makes this show so important and so great is that all of its characters are flawed and scarred and have lost and have trauma, and they all approach their trauma in different ways. We all lose things all the time in life, but how we choose to deal with that loss shows us exactly who we are. Because our strength always prevails, whether it takes a week, a year, 10 years, our strength always shows us who we truly are and truly can be. Because we really are. That was so corny, but it worked so well. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I know it's probably been a while since I last uploaded. I've been going through a lot of things at the moment. I'm trying to get back onto it. I say this every time, but I'm trying to get back on top of it. I want to make more videos because I enjoy making these videos. And yeah, I mean, I've been decorating my room quite a bit, as you can see. The room looks pretty nice, I think. I've got just things that I'm really passionate about. You can tell I'm a fan of things because I've just got it plastered all over my wall. But yeah, if you like this video, there will be more like this coming out. I've got some on One Day and some other things that I've been working on. I've also been working on a few movies myself that I've written and I want to star in, which is going to be really fun to make. But yeah, stay tuned for that, and yeah, subscribe, like, share this with people you know that you think would like Invincible, or just the sound of my really gorgeous voice, or my face, presumably. I don't know, it sounds a bit egotistical, but yeah. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
500 protein tubes with that white sauce.